Hey YouTube, this is J and T Customs. I'm Jay.
I'm T.
And how are you doing? Hello YouTube. Alright, here we are. We're at episode 7 of our wide body creation. Okay? And what we've done, watch the other videos on the channel. Subscribe, hit the like button, and we're going to be doing more stuff to this in the future. So stay tuned. Anyway, so episode 7, here we are. What I've done now is I've got all of the lightweight filler on, okay? I've sanded it down. I've primed it with basic red primer. When you're painting a car that's black, okay, you want to use either a black or a dark color, but you want to use, so if a car is dark color, dark blue, black, you know, any one of the dark colors, you want to use a dark primer. You don't want to use a light primer because, believe it or not, as you paint this, okay, if you think about it at the molecule level, the gray will bleed through the black and it won't be completely black, okay? So you want to use a darker primer, red or black, flat black, okay? You want a dark color. So I painted this red. Now remember in episode 6, I sat there and I said, if you think you're done sanding, you're not done sanding. If you think you're close to sanding, you're nowhere close at all. So look at how much sanding I redid on this after I painted the primer. Okay, so I sanded it down some more. It's wet sanded. This is now ready for the epoxy primer. So what we're going to do is I've wet sanded this, so we're going to let this sit overnight. Okay, and then we're going to shoot it tomorrow. So right at this point, this is where we are on this fender. Let's move over here, the front fenders. Okay, this fender here, this is all ready to go. Okay, this is ready to be painted also. I'm going to shoot this with the epoxy black. Okay, we had to cut down a couple of things, as you can see. All right, and over here, same thing. All right, so this I'm going to shoot with I'm going to shoot it with high fill gray. And then once I cover this with high fill gray, because I used a long hair fiberglass on this. I should have used a short hair fiberglass. So this has some holes and dimples in it that are just so tiny on the surface that the high filler primer will fill those in, and then we don't have to worry about going over them with glazing putty. Okay, so I'm going to shoot this with the high filler. I'm also going to shoot this fender back here because there's a couple of spots in the back that I want to go over, and you can see where this is wet here. Okay, so this is drying right now, so we're not going to paint it tonight. We'll paint this tomorrow. Okay, the hood's ready to be painted. What I have to do is wet sand that. Now what's interesting is that he started sanding the car down, and he hates sanding. If there's anything that you'll find when you do this kind of stuff, sanding. If you know somebody that's patient, that really likes to sit there and do mundane over and over and over and over stuff, hire him to sand for you, okay? Because he'll enjoy this. I don't like sanding. I like creating, but I'm not a sander. So we sanded this down. However, T did a phenomenal job on the wet sand. So I guess he likes the wet sand, but he doesn't like to do the regular sand. So he did a great job on the wet sand. And what we're going to do is, again, we're going to let this dry thoroughly. You never want to paint a car that you just wet sanded. Okay, you always let it dry. Let it dry overnight. Okay. If it's raining in your area and it's been raining for a couple of days, there's a lot of moisture in the air. let it dry for a day or so, okay? Because paint will not stick to wet, okay? Paint will not stick to water. Therefore, you need to make sure that this is 100% dry, okay? So, what we're doing now is we're going to tape the car, okay? Now, what I did, again, this is all done. We're using, we're using fairly cheap stuff, okay? That's the whole idea for this project. This, Home Depot, Lowe's, it's in the flooring section. You can buy it on the roll, and it's like $7, okay? You could go to the paint store, okay, and you could get it. It's just a little bit more money. So you could also bag the car. They have plastic. They have this plastic stuff that has tape in it already, and you can do all of that stuff. But if it's, if you're the guy that wants to try this, or if you're, a kid in high school, or you don't have a lot of money and you want to try doing this, this is what we did. Okay, we went and we tried to do it as cheaply as possible. So now I'm taping this up over the engine, but then I'm going to take the hood and I'm going to put it over that. Okay, reason being is that when you spray anything, the paint will get into every nook and cranny that you could possibly find. Okay, so if there's a spot that the paint can get into, it's going to. So when you tape your car before painting, that is key. Okay, and that's that. So we're going to finish painting this thing. We're going to finish taping this up, and we'll be back to you. We're going to hit pause.